because they understand, being herd animals, the horse that moves the other horse's feet gets to be the leader. So when that horse gets in your space and you move out, and you're not thinking about it, you're not being a bad person or anything, you're just doing whatever, that horse says, okay, sometimes I get to be the leader, and sometimes you get to be the leader. I see how this works. So what you're doing is you're just having that horse, he's going to check you out to where they should understand that they shouldn't be afraid to be in close with you, but they can only come in when you invite them in. They can't come in on their own. It's like having a neighbor that when you invite him over, he doesn't leave. You probably invite him over more. If you do, he would leave when you asked him to, right? So same thing with your horse. He should be able to come in. If I have my horse to where I want him to come to me, the feel that I might offer him might be a little bit more. I would take this rope and I'd say, would you come with me? There, I'm giving Belle an opportunity to get her mind and her feet operating together, that she's thinking about coming with me, right? If I was just to walk off, there's that brace I talked about. I would be putting a brace in that horse. So the horse, what it did, it came with me, right? But what did it do? It went, huh? There you go. He said, geez, my horse has got a brace in it. Yeah, you put it in him, just the way you went about moving him. So if I'd asked her to come with me, it would look like this. Come with me. I let that rope slide until she made a decision to be with me. And then if I wanted her to leave, it should feel like this. I'm gonna bump on her till I get a change. Right there I got a change, I release. Now I'm gonna ask her to move, I'm gonna bump on her. There's a change, I get a release. And as I would do that, I would want to get it to where less, maybe like that. Now I'll turn it up. There. But my goal would be I could have her to where if I did this, she'd back up. If I did this, she would come with me. Okay? Get her mind with me. There. She'd come with me. Now I'll get to a point when I've offered her a good deal. This is a good deal. I'm letting that rope slide. I'll get to a point that where I'm saying, you better come with me. But I wouldn't arrange myself to be way out straight ahead of that horse. I'd be like this off to the side a little bit to where I could bring the front feet across, to where I have the angle at her. And then I could get her to move with me without being embraced. When you were asking her to lower her head, Margaret, that looked good. One thing I might do if you had a horse that was really not, was just learning, I would take a hold of my halter and I would hold on to the cheek piece like this with a rigid arm. Now I'm going to rub here up behind the ears and I'm going to just push down a little bit there. As soon as she gets off that pressure, I relax my hand. There. I'm pushing down. As soon as she gets off. If I didn't get a result at all I would do is just turn my hand into a claw a little bit. There. And I mean when I'm doing it just like that. As soon as they get off that pressure, I'm going to release. This hand, this arm right here is rigid, so if she slung her head like that, she would push me out of the way. Because if I was standing here like this doing it, something spooked her and she slung her head, she might whack me with her head. And her head weighs a lot more. I think it's 75 pounds, something horse's head, it's heavy. Slap you upside your head, you'd feel it. So I'm going to push down. There it is. Good. Good. And then I might even experiment a little bit more, Margaret, where I could go here. And I could think about, geez, grandkids are going to be coming and riding. They're pretty small. They might want to get her here. When Haley was little, she had a little horse, a little roan mare that would put her head down, get her to put her head down like that, climb on her neck, get up and go. So all that sort of stuff, you can just get them better. You might want to doctor cattle where you're out roping, working calves in the spring like you do at home. Well, if you had her to where she could operate off the end of your Makati, you could send her around, you could get her to move tight in your area, you could get her to roll the calf over, do all that sort of thing, just by having that on her. Okay, so this is groundwork that all fits into the program of just having a real all-round ranch horse. Now we'll go ahead and we'll bridle her. And Margaret said her problem with her is like when you're taking the halter off, she wants to get her head high, maybe leave or whatever. I'll show you a little trick. When I go to bridle her, and I notice Margaret did the same thing here too, I'm not forcing a bit in her mouth. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to work my thumb and ask her to open her mouth. When she opens her mouth, I just lift up over here with my right hand and just put the bit in place. It's not like I take the bit and rub it up against her teeth to open it. And then I always put the opposite I'm mindful that the brow band doesn't rub on her eye or something. I don't want to make her bad about being bridled to where it's uncomfortable. And then I might say, well, geez, I forgot something here. I still have my halter on her. I kept that halter on her because I thought maybe she would leave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open her mouth, and I'm going to run the nose piece of the halter behind the bit. And then I'm going to take her halter off. Because we don't ride around with our halters on underneath our bridle. Lots of folks do, and that doesn't make them bad folks, but we don't need to, because I'll show you something too with my outfit, that I have alleviated that deal. It would be like maybe having something on underneath your hat. It might be a little too small, right? But I know why you do it, and that's a decision you make. So, unlike some guys, I'm not going to say, hey, you should never have a halter on here. That's what I would do.
So I was always just using my 2 fingers and the 2 little soft spots right here.
Yeah.
Pressing it, so it wasn't too hard. Yes, like, because you were doing more.
You know, I was doing more like if your shoulder was your head, it'd be like this.
Okay.
And
It said, and I was just using my
Right,
fingers. So
right.
like maybe she doesn't respond
So,
as well.
when I do this, it feels pretty good to her, and I push
Yeah.
down, and now I'm going to give her a look there.
Yeah,
There.
that's what I would need
Yeah.
to do.
So when you're doing this all the time, it's kind of like, there's no good to it. It's either fiction or not, right?
Yeah.
With me, when she puts her head down and I relax my hand and I rub, that feels good for her right there. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I do a lot of this too. I'll roll their ears and get them good about that. Yeah. You've done a good job on her. She's fine. If I was in the middle of nowhere, and I was thinking, man, if this horse decides to leave in that halfway point where your halter's off and you're putting the bridle on, with a rope halter like that, I can leave the rope halter on and then just